gonna jump into Mark chapter 13. Mark 13, Luke 21, Matthew 24. If you're not familiar with these texts, they're what most theologians call the Olivet Discourse. And it's important because this portion of scripture and the book of Revelation are what they call the greater and lesser apocalypse. They're apocalyptic literature. It means the unveiling. It's the unveiling of end times, of end things. So what takes place between now and then, that really is a little bit of a mystery. It is. And so we have to be charitable with each other. My views on end times have changed, and I've taught through Revelation multiple times. And it's changed every time I've taught through it. I now am blessed to be in a Bible study with a group of men, and the men in that group, each of us, hold pretty much a different view on how this is going to play out. And I love that. I love that. I love that I get challenged in my beliefs, and I love that I get to see how others see the scriptures. It's a blessing. We need to be refined like that, because there's incredible theologians on all sides of this argument. There's four main ways that we interpret the book of Revelation and that we interpret Matthew 24, Mark 13. These texts either point us to the past, they either are a picture of what will take place throughout all of history, they're either future events. All of us pretty much grew up in that vein of thought, that this is all future. And then there's those that believe that a lot of this has to do with symbolism. And as you read through Revelation, or if you read through Mark and Matthew, that this is a picture, it's symbols of what it's going to be like in the church age. And so we need to be charitable. Today I'm gonna walk you through Mark 13, and I'm gonna do it in a way that you've probably never heard. I'm gonna point you to a lot of things that have to do with the past, AD 70, the temple destruction. I believe that this text predominantly speaks of that destruction. And then there's a portion at the end that throws us forward to the second coming of Christ. Be gracious to me. If I never get invited back, I understand, okay? Ben copped out on this, gave it to me so that way you wouldn't boot him from the church. Mark 13, verse 1. And as he came out of the temple, one of his disciples said to him, "Look, teacher, what wonderful stones and what wonderful building." And Jesus said to him, "Do you see these great buildings? There will not be left one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." Well, throughout the scriptures, the temple is a theme, it's a type pointing us forward to the true antitype, that is Christ. But the problem is, it was still external. And we see Nehemiah at the end of his book, we see his heart. He writes in chapter 13, verse 25, "And I confronted them and cursed them and beat some of them and pulled out their hair and made them take an oath in the name of God." That sounds like my house and my children and me parenting them. This looks like a frustrated parent, an angry prophet, right? Come on. Okay, maybe just my house. You guys got it in order. The point is, it still was not enough. It could not accomplish what God wanted to accomplish. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 6. Look what it says. "For we are the temple of the living God. As God said, I will make my dwelling among them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people." This is what God's desire is. It looks a lot more like the garden. They would be my people, I would be their God, I would walk among them. This is what our God desires. He does not desire just an external temple, a once-a-day Christianity, a building that we all come to. We make offering and we sacrifice and then we leave, and that's the end of it. That system will never stand. God will not allow it. So let's look at this last portion of scripture. It's much, much larger in Matthew. It's much shorter in Mark, but it sums it up. Verse 32, "But concerning that day or that hour, be on guard, keep awake, stay awake, stay awake, stay awake." If you read this in Matthew, it's much longer, but that theme, it pounds through the whole portion. Stay awake, stay awake. That phrase, those words, are the same word that Jesus uses when he's in the gardens with his disciple before the crucifixion. He looks to his disciples multiple times and says, please watch with me, stay awake. And the word means not just to watch, the word means to stay alive. It means to live. It doesn't mean that we're awake 24/7. It means that our hearts are awakened to the things of God. It means that we're alert to his kingdom. We know what he has for us and we live it out. I would love to just strip all the fears of the future away from you. Be wise, be prudent, be vigilant, but do not live in fear. Trust your God, he will provide. And be about Matthew 28.